Hello guys, this is Recaps Now here. Today we are going to explain the survival movie Mine with you. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. This movie begins with a person named Mike. Mike is a sharpshooter and he is accompanied by his friend named Tommy. They are shown to be waiting for terrorists in a desert, and whom the US Army are searching for. Then we see that a group of people are assembled at a distance. Actually, the event being held here is a wedding. We see Mike take aim at the terrorist. But just as he was about to shoot, the groom comes in front of the terrorist and blocks Mike's vision. So we see Mike removes his gun from the target. Just then, there is a reflection in Mike's gun that the terrorist's men had seen. And they understood that someone was watching over them from a distance. They start firing bullets, which alerts the terrorists, and they run away from the scene. Mike and Tommy also fire bullets at them. Now the terrorists are coming after Mike and Tommy. They hide themselves behind a rock. But deep within they knew they could not hide for long. But here luck was with them, as we see a dust storm engulfs the place, and all of the terrorists leave the scene. Now we see that both Mike and Tommy are stuck in the dust storm. They ask for the assistance of the US Army, who advises them to somehow reach the nearby village, and from there they can help. But the nearest village was at a distance of 5 hours from the point where they were currently stationed. The storm ceases, but they continue their journey. After proceeding a bit further, they see a plate falls near them, and in the plate they find a danger sign. Mike says they should not proceed. There is a war going on in North Africa for the last 40 years, and there are many places in North Africa where mines have been set up, he says, and this was one such place. But Tommy does not pay attention to his words. Tommy says that the village is not that far from here, and we have two options: either to save ourselves or die out of thirst and hunger. Though Mike is reluctant to proceed, but he has no other choice. Mike thinks for a bit, and in the meanwhile Tommy starts to proceed ahead, just to show Mike that no mines existed there. But just then his feet are stuck on a mine, and there is a huge blast in which Tommy loses both his legs and is left crippled. Just when Mike goes forward to help Tommy, he hears a click and understands that he had also stepped onto a mine. And if he removed his feet from the mine, then he would also get harmed. But he wants to help his friend, so he suggests Tom to contact the army via radio and ask for help. But Tommy's condition was such that he could not even move his feet. At first he injects a painkiller and then uses the radio to connect to the headquarters, but as he was in severe pain, he could not understand what to do and the connection is not established. Now we see Mike feel helpless, as he could not see his friend dying like this. He tells Tommy that I'm going forward, and I think that there must be an ongoing war in the mine, as it was one of the oldest mines. He opines that it might happen the mines may not explode when I remove my feet. But Tommy also did not want to lose his friend, so he takes out the gun, and before shooting himself tells Mike that you have to stay alive. After this he kills himself. Now we see Mike being stranded there all alone. He was confused as what he should do. After a while we see him pulling the bag containing the radio towards himself with the help of an axe. Here he notices that the radio's battery had drained and the other battery was in Tommy's pocket. But here we see Mike recharge the radio using solar power. After this, he calls up to his base and tells them the situation, and that he was in need of help, and his companion had died. His senior says that there are storms going on at the place where you are, so we cannot send you helicopters. But we are sending a team to you, but it will take them 52 hours to reach you. Which meant Mike had to spend the next 52 hours in that desert all alone. Mike felt broken at the loss of his dear friend Tommy. He just wanted to get out of the place. But before he could think of anything, he saw a sandstorm was approaching him. He digs his gun to the ground so that it did not move in the storm, because the storm there was such that it could engulf everything. The storm reaches Mike, and he protects himself by tying a cloth around his face, and his eyes were closed. As a result, he is not that affected by the severity of the storm. And we see when the storm ends and he opens his eyes, he finds that Tommy's body had flown towards him. He takes out the battery of the radio from Tommy's pocket. But this time, he is not lucky enough, and we see that he had lost his bag and the battery was now futile to him. We also see that his water pot was also empty. Mike felt hungry and thirsty, and he had to spend 52 hours there. We see that as time passed, he became impatient, and he takes out his gun and shoots upwards and shouts for help. But there was nobody in the vicinity, so he decides to kill himself. But just as he is about to pull the trigger, he sees a man passing who lived in a nearby village. Mike explains to him his whole situation. That person encourages Mike to take the next step, but Mike says, if I step ahead, there will be a blast and I will die just like my friend. That man now approaches Mike, but he does not do it in a straight line, but rather in a zigzag pattern, as maybe he knew about the mines. Mike gives the man his water bottle and asks for his radio, which was lying nearby. The villager says there will be no music here, and you must move forward, and he leaves. Mike keeps on standing in the same way for a number of hours. After a while, Mike sees a small girl who comes to him and gives him water and brings out a toy soldier from her bag. Mike also had one such toy which he gives to the girl. He asks for his bag from her, which she does not give him. Actually, the girl was the daughter of the man Mike had met a while ago. We then see it is almost dusk and Mike sees a recorded message from his wife in his phone. His wife says that she was waiting for him and that he should return soon after finishing the mission. Seeing this, Mike gets emotional. Here we see Mike had arranged for a fireplace for himself, but as he was extremely tired, Toby falls asleep and the fire blows off. Soon after this, he hears the barking of wild dogs who were approaching him. Mike shoots at them, but it was way too dark all around. Mike is able to see a dog through his torch. This time he shoots accurately and the dog falls on a mine and an explosion occurs which scares away the other dogs. The scene shifts to the next morning when that again comes to visit the place and is surprised to see Mike alive. He once again repeats himself that Mike should move ahead. Mike argues that you know where the mines are, so you use the zigzag to walk around. To this the man says that, no, I do not know where the mines are, but if I walk in a straight line, I might fall into one, that's why I use zigzag method. Mike asks for his radio, which the man gives him and leaves. We now see Mike hallucinating. He sees his friend Tommy in front of him. Tommy advises him to leave that place and return to his wife. We see Mike now remembers all his past mistakes and how Neil treated his wife when she most needed his support and was pregnant with his child and left her alone for the sake of his mission. We then see it is night and the dogs come again to kill Mike, and he fights with them and kills a few of them throughout the night. In the morning we see Mike checking his watch and he sees that only 4 to 5 hours had passed and it would require another 7 hours for the rescue team to reach him. In the meanwhile, Mike gets a call from his boss who informs that the team was running 10 hours late and he had to wait another 17 hours. His boss asks him, can you do it? Mike says, no, I cannot. His boss says someone wants to talk to you. Here we hear the voice of Jenny, Mike's wife, coming from the other side. Mike asks for her forgiveness and he says that he had ruined everything. Mike was so tired that he imagines his wife sitting in a sofa and offers her his hand and is about to fall to the ground when that very village who had helped previously saves him. He then tells Mike his story and how he had lost one of his legs in a blast of a mine and how he was inspired by a song called You Got to Keep Moving On, which he heard in the hospital, and how he met his wife and says that sometimes even the worst experiences in life are the most beautiful memories. We just have to keep moving on. He informs Mike that used to sell mines and replace them with tins so that the army won't doubt. Mike says, I have met your daughter, she is quite beautiful. The man then says how he lost his daughter, and it is due to the love I had for her that you can see her with me. He says that how cruel life had been towards him, but reiterates that no matter what happens, people must move on. Here we again see Mike hallucinating again, and he remembers his memories with his parents and how his dad used to beat him. But soon Mike comes back to reality as he is shot by the terrorist group. Mike fights the group with great courage and kills them. Mike is about to shoot a man when his bullets run out. It was actually his imagination, and see he is being hugged by his dad. He then realizes how he had misunderstood the people who loved him. We come to know the rescue team had reached Mike, but it was hard for them to find him without a sign because of the sandy and dusty conditions. He acquires courage from the villagers' words and moves forward to get the flare gun and finds a bottle of tin in the ground with a toy soldier, and we then see Mike collapses to the ground after standing for 62 hours straight. This incident changed Mike's whole life. After a few days we see Mike returning to USA, where we see his wife is waiting for him at the airport and kneels down to his wife and says how he now knows the importance of moving forward in life in his mind. Thus, the movie ends. Thank you for watching.